Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, welcome to this 5th Oil and Gas Summit here in DR Byen. It's a great pleasure on behalf of OGD to welcome you to this annual event. Last year we gathered here to discuss whether there was disruption in the oil and gas industry. That was with a question mark afterwards, and I think it's safe to say that this year we can answer that question. I don't think there needs any question marks. Exclamation mark is probably more appropriate. Because lots are changing, and lots has changed over the last year. And some would call it disruption, maybe not, but at least a significant change. We've had a broad political agreement, of a North Sea agreement, or around the North Sea. We have seen the launch of a North Sea strategy headed by the minister and done in conjunction and collaboration with the broad industry. And we've also seen, as we've saw in the UK, that new players are entering the market. So two of the producing operators in the North Sea are in the process of being acquired. I think that's fair to say. None of the two deals are closed yet. But that does, to me, represent really significant change and really significant disruption. And there's been a lot of debate during the year, but also a debate that has, particularly with the North Sea Agreement, ended us with a new and broad support for our industry, broad coalition. And it's quite interesting to note that one of the newcomers to the North Sea Agreements were quite clear on the statements of why they were entering into this. And I quote here, potential extra revenue of some 26 billion kroner that can be used on welfare, public transport and green transition. So with that, I think it's at least my conclusion that at this point in time, there is not a lot of uncertainty about why we need this industry and why it's relevant in our society. Now it's more about talking about how we ensure that our industry can contribute continuously. We believe that the North Sea Agreement is one step in that direction, but only one step. We're here on the back of 50 years of strong and significant contributions to the Danish economy. I think the latest number says something like 415 billion kroner and 35,000 jobs. Very, very significant. And we believe and we see that significant potential remains. And the rebuilding of the infrastructure in the North Sea with the Tyra is very prominent there, is part of that, delivering that. But we do recognize the need for further unfolding of the elements that made the agreement happen for rebuilding of Tyra. Standing here today, you can't really go to a conference and open it without talking about also the debate about the role of fossil fuels in the future of this company. I think that is a key theme, and it's one that we need to embrace. I don't, and we don't see this as a contradiction. Our industry can be fully aligned and supporting a green transition, making sure that we remain profitable and have a welfare state that is supported. And I think the Tyra example is a good one to count on here. So we are securing the delivery of gas from the Danish subsoil, replacing replacing by and large coal, and also providing a key solution to offset the intermittency of other renewable energy sources. In that sense, the North Sea infrastructure and the North Sea fields can play a really vital role in the Danish energy transition. Today we've gathered, you are here, and along with you, also a lot of experts, industry leaders, NGOs, and politicians coming here today. And we believe that we together can work to prolong Denmark's oil and gas self-sufficiency, security of supply, very, very importantly, and upholding thousands of jobs, and through that continue to contribute substantially to the welfare of the Danish society. That is also the basis for the newly released, or the release in July of the North Sea strategy, called The Future of Oil and Gas in Denmark, which, amongst others, stresses the importance of broad collaboration to create the solutions required to deliver the remaining potential. The subheading of that was how to ensure optimal utilization of our resources. And that calls, again, for continued dialogue. And to help us with that today, we have a number of speakers. We'll get inspiration from Oil and Gas UK, the OGA, the newly built authority in the UK, that'll give us insights into how they look at maximizing economic recovery. We'll get a view on the supply and demand outlook for Europe and security of supply. We'll talk about our workforce, a really vital piece of actually ensuring that we can deliver the value for the Danish society and for our industry over the years. So we'll talk about skills and competences and how we retain those. And not least, we're blessed with having two ministers joining us today and providing their views. Brian Mikkelsen from the Ministry of Industry, Business and Financial Affairs, giving his perspectives, and our Energy Minister, Lars Christian Lilleholt, joining us as well a little later today. And I'd like to recognize here both the current government and previous governments for their significant efforts in managing Denmark's energy transition. And I think we can be proud of the work that has been done and the ambitions that are set. But there is a long way to go. And you will be able to read in your handouts here today the magazine that'll have views on exactly how far there is to go and the forecast and role of fossil fuels in the future. There is a long and very important period ahead of us where fossil fuels will remain to play a vital role, not just in Denmark, but across the world. And the socioeconomic benefits of that are quite clear. It's unmistakably value-creating to exploit our resource base. And with today's theme, we would like to spear the discussion and hopefully create an imagination about Danish self-sufficiency in energy, also through fossil fuels, through to and beyond 2050. I think that's a great ambition to have. That's our ambition, and we hope that you'll join us in that. Today is a day for inspiration, for discussion, for networking. It's a really great group. Some of you are here for the first time. Many of you, I can see, have been here before and contributed to what we're doing. But enough introduction. Today we'll be, as usual, having a really strong moderator. Today it's Nynne Bjerre Christensen. Most of you will know her from her time at DR2's Deadline program. And she'll lead us safely through the day and make sure that we keep focus on what is the real topic of today. So welcome, Nynne.
Thank you very much, Troels. And so I'm going to ask questions to most of the speakers, and that goes for you too. You mentioned the North Sea Agreement, and clearly that is of great importance. But can you tell me just how important you see it for the entire industry?
I think the key importance, of course, is the tangible elements of us being able to retain and have that a key piece of gas infrastructure in the North Sea. Without it, that would have been a really, really disastrous scenario in my world for all of us. But I do think that there's a point beyond that, because I think with the agreement as well, and particularly with the broad political base around this, that it is a blue stamp on the industry and the importance of it and its contribution to the welfare state. And I think we can use that and should see it as exactly that.
But did you have any doubts whether you'd actually have an agreement?
Yes. I think there's always, when you have discussions like this, there was an absolute possibility that this would not have happened. Mm-hmm. And I think the contributions of the decisiveness of the state, of the government, and of the parties involved to make this happen was clear. Mm-hmm. That in its own right, I think, is an important element.
So you also spoke about the green transition, which is pivotal in the development of the society at the moment. But how do you see the industry playing an active role in that society? In other words, what's the future for the sector throughout the transition?
So I think the key piece for me is that we don't try to fight this. This is coming and it's good. But we also see, and we'll see that through today's presentations as well, that the world will need fossil fuels for a long time, even after Denmark has ceased to produce it. And the growth in the energy consumption in the world will come, and not everybody can be on green and renewable fuels. And therefore, we should continue to progress that, and the proceeds for that can help us to also transition while we maintain the level of welfare that we have in this country, and that I think nobody really want to get put at risk. And I think we can contribute actively to that.
We'll talk a lot about that today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nina.